I'm going to be picking my 26-man squad for the Euros for England. Now on Tuesday, the preliminary squads will be released for England. A lot of nations have already released theirs, and there were a lot of big names missing from certain nations, and I'm sure there are going to be even more bigger names missing from the England preliminary squad. Now, of course, it's only the preliminary squad. People will be cut from there, and there will be a 26-man squad eventually finalised. But before the preliminary squad gets released, I wanted to get my actual squad out there. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to pick my 26-man squad. It is 26-man. UEFA have increased it from 23 to 26, which is pretty good and helpful as it gets rid of some of my selection dilemmas. But yeah, I'm going to pick my 26, and the way I'm going to do it is first I'm going to do what I would do if I was in charge, and then I'm going to do what I think is going to be picked by Gareth Southgate. Of course, get in the comments below who is in your England squad. I would love to hear it. And the way I'm going to categorise it is, so I'm going to put key player on the plane. Someone's definitely on the plane. In the squad, so maybe, definitely not on the plane, like their place is not confirmed, but for me, they're in the squad. Preliminary squad, somebody who is not in my 26-man squad, but is very close and will definitely be in the preliminary squad. And then someone who has absolutely no chance. So yeah, I'm using this tier list which I found. It has pretty much everyone in my squad, I'm pretty sure, and a lot of random other players who are definitely going in no chance. So what I'll do is we're gonna fly through this, and I think what I'll do, I'll just go in order. I'll go in order of my squad. So we're going to start with the goalkeepers. So the goalkeepers, of course, Jordan Pickford, no debate, is going to be a key player for England at the Euros. He's going to be the starter every single game at the Euros unless he's injured. While he's not amazing as a keeper, one, he's never really put a foot wrong for England, and two, there's not really many other keepers who are on form right now who can actually challenge him for the number one spot, so he is definitely on the plane and a key player. Now, here's where it gets interesting, because the other goalkeepers, so you have the potential candidates are Sam Johnstone, you have Nick Pope, James Trafford as well, Dean Henderson, and Aaron Ramsdale. There's also, I'm not entirely sure if he's on here, but yeah, I don't think he's on here, but people are also talking about Jack Butland for Rangers because he's having a good year as well, but these are the main ones. Now, the problem is that a lot of them are not on form or not playing. Nick Pope is injured. I'm not entirely sure if he'll be back for the Euros, and even if he is, he hasn't played in a long time. Sam Johnstone is not playing at the Crystal Palace either. I'm not sure if that's because of injury or he's just been dropped, but Dean Henderson is the starter. James Trafford has also now been dropped as Burnley's goalkeeper. Aaron Ramsdale has also been dropped, and is number 2 for Arsenal, barely played this season. So the only one who's actually playing is Dean Henderson, and also Jack Butland. But the thing is, Dean Henderson hasn't really been involved in England's setups in a long time, and neither has Jack Butland. So it's a bit of a dilemma, but for me, I'm going to say Aaron Ramsdale's on the plane. I think Aaron Ramsdale is, at least ability-wise, probably the second best keeper out of these. And, I think I would maybe trust him a bit more. If he had to come in, he's had a bit more experience for England compared to the others. If he had to come in, I think he would do the job, and he's probably pretty good for the dressing room as well. And then the other spot for me in my squad is actually going to be Dean Henderson. I think as Henderson's actually been playing games compared to the others. So those are my keepers. Now let's get into a bit more of the interesting ones, so defenders. So, in terms of defenders, let's get my key players out of the way. I need to try and find everyone here. Okay, Harry Maguire, not a key player, but definitely on the plane. Similar thing to Pickford. Not really put a foot wrong for England. We don't really have too many fantastic centre-backs either. Got a lot of tournament experience. Has actually had one of his best seasons at Man United this year. So he'll definitely be on the plane for me. And we then have where is he? Yeah, Carl Walker. Carl Walker is going to be. I'm not gonna say key player. I'm not gonna say key player, but he's definitely on the plane and will play a large role in the Euros. Has a lot of experience. Has been used in multiple roles for England. Of course, is a leader, captain of Manchester City. So, yeah, he's going to be an important player for us. I'm not entirely sure. We've got a load of great right backs, so that's why I'm not going to say he's a key player, because he might, there might be games where he may not play, but definitely on the plane. Next up, where is he? There he is, John Stones. He definitely is a key player. By far and away our best centre-back when fit. So good, incredible, and hopefully he will be fully fit and ready to go for the Euros. Okay, now we get into, actually wait, there is one more. Luke Shaw. Now Luke Shaw is an interesting one. Luke Shaw, if he is fit, he's going to be a key player for us, because quite frankly we don't really have any other left back options, and Luke Shaw has been fantastic for us at left back, especially at the last Euros was terrific. But the problem is he going to be fit? He is still injured. I'm not entirely sure if he'll be back, and similar thing to Pope, if he is back, he wouldn't have played a competitive football game in a long time. So, yeah, I don't know about that, but just for this, I'm going to assume he's fit. And if he is, he's going to be playing. Okay, now we get into the more interesting ones. So, for me, someone who is on the plane is Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think that Trent is going to be an extremely useful player in this Euros because of the fact that he can just provide something different. He doesn't necessarily have to start, but I think his flexibility in terms of going forward, he is so good. He can invert and join that midfield. You know, if we are getting dominated in midfield, bring on Trent, invert him in and help us. Or maybe if we're chasing a goal, bring on Trent. He can overlap as well, provide some crosses and provide that creative spark. Or I think Trent can be used in a game where maybe in the group stages against like a Slovenia, where we're gonna expect to have the ball a lot more, use Trent. So that's why for me he's on the plane for sure, and is going to be a useful player in moments, not necessarily a guaranteed starter, but a player who can come on as a game changer. Next up for me, this might surprise some of you, but actually no, I'll get rid of it. I think Joe Gomez for me is definitely in the squad. Actually, in terms of me, he's definitely on the plane. I would definitely be taking Joe Gomez. Joe Gomez has had a good season this year, and particularly I'll be taking him because of his flexibility. He can play all across the back four. He can play centre back, right back and left back. He's played all three of those positions this season, and he's been pretty solid at all three, and that sort of versatility is exactly what you need in tournament football. You need players who, if injuries crop up or you need to change the system a bit, you need players like him who can come off the bench and do something and help you out like that. And he's played that role very well for Liverpool this season, so he's definitely on the plane for me. as he can also play centre back as well. That sort of versatility is really, really useful, which is why I would take him. There's also the element of Bukayo Saka is most likely going to be the starter at right wing, and of course Ben White and Saka have such an incredible relationship, so if you maybe want to get the best out of Saka, potentially utilising Ben White could be good. But either way, I think Ben White is a really good player to have in the squad due to his versatility at being able to play right back and centre back and being brilliant at both, so that's why I would take him. And now the next pick. This is where it gets quite hard for me. For me, it's between two guys, actually three guys. So one of them is Ezri Konsa. One of them is where is he? There's so many. Jabram, there he is. And then the other player. I cannot find him. Cannot find him. Where is he? Okay, we'll use Tyreek Mitchell just because he plays for Palace as well, and he's a there he is. Okay. Mark Gay is between these three. I'm not gonna take all of them, but I would take one of these. Gay, Branthwaite and Konsa, and actually there is another player who I was not even considering at the start of this season, but to be fair, he's had a bit of a resurgence and is well worth a mention. I'm not even sure if he's on this tier list, actually. I don't think he is. Yeah, but I'll use Harry Kane as an example. That's Eric Dyer. Eric Dyer's been fantastic for Bayern, and deserves a mention to potentially be back in the England team. So out of these four, I would only take one of them. I'm only going to take one of them because I just don't think you need that many centre backs. And if I'm taking a Ben White, if I'm taking a Joe Gomez, they can slot into the centre back role if needed. And I would rather use those spots for an attacker rather than a centre back. So out of these four, for me, it's really, really close. It's really, really close. But I would actually take Jared Branthwaite. I would put Konsa and Gay in my preliminary, as would I put Eric Dyer, but he's not on there, so I'll put him there. I would take Jared Branthwaite. I think Branthwaite has been maybe the best out of them this season. It's been very close. They've all had pretty good years. But I think Branthwaite, on the ball is fantastic. In the air, really, really good. And I also think he's one of the more similar players to Maguire in terms of, as I said, on the ball and in the air, fantastic. So for that reason, if Maguire was to get injured, you have someone who plays similar to him in Jared Branthwaite can come in. So yeah, I would take Branthwaite, but it's very close, very, very close. So those are all my defenders, which I will be taking. Well, actually, I'll come to it. So what I've done is I've picked my 23-man squad, and then I've picked the rest of the players, like additional guys. Anyway, in the midfield, is kind of easy to pick, actually, at least for me. So Kobe Mainoo is definitely on the plane. Mainoo has had a fantastic season for Man United. Even though he's extremely young, you've seen his composure, and when he played for England, he was superb. Mainoo is definitely on the plane and has a good chance of starting. Conor Gallagher definitely on the plane as well. Had a fantastic year for Chelsea. Very useful, can play in a more advanced position or a deeper position as well, and is a very useful player to have. As a bit of an impact guy, I wouldn't start him, but he'll definitely be in the team. And of course, Declan Rice has no chance. Declan Rice is a key player. We have pretty much no one else who can play that Declan Rice role as a DM, so he's going to be extremely, extremely crucial, one of our most important players. And then I'm also taking, of course, Jude Bellingham, key player, where he plays in terms of if he plays a more advanced role or an 8 role, we will see, but of course he's going to be a key player and starting every game. So those are my midfielders. Then we get into the attack. So Harry Kane, of course, key player. And then, of course, where is he? Bukayo Saka, key player as well. And then Phil Foden. Phil Foden, again, is going to be a key player. All five of these have had incredible seasons, and these are really probably our 5 best players, and we're going to be expecting big things from them to deliver at this tournament. Then the other spots, okay, let's find them now, Okay, Cole Palmer, for me, has to be on the plane, has to be in this team. Again, like these, has had incredible seasons, just as good. He's on the plane, but I wouldn't start him because Bukayo Saka has had a bit more experience on the international stage. But Cole Palmer is going to be extremely useful player as an impact guy off the bench, and we'll see how he does. Definitely deserves to be in the team though. Then this is where it might get a little bit controversial, but it's between Anthony Gordon and Marcus Rashford. Now, the reason I say it's between these two is because the way I see it is, you look at the attackers in terms of the wide areas. You got Saka, you got Foden, you got Palmer. Palmer and Foden definitely like that ball to feet. They're not really fast, direct guys. Saka is, and none of these two are going to start. They're not. But what you want from them then is you want a different option off the bench. When something's not working, you want something completely different to a Foden, who is most likely going to be on the left. And these two are very different. They're more direct, they're more fast. So for that reason, it's between these two. And for me, simply because he has delivered for England, he has experience on the international stage. Even though he's had a poor year, I'm taking Marcus Rashford. Over Gordon. I just think that Rashford, the way I see it is, with England, this is a fantastic opportunity for us to win the tournament, and we can't really be experimenting with guys. I want a bit of an experienced team. I want a team that has, we've been growing to this moment, we come close so often now in the last few years. So I want a lot of those players who have come close because they know what it takes. I don't really want to be messing around with the team. And Rashford has proven last World Cup he was pretty good. He's proven he can perform for England and be that impact sub off the bench. Let's be real. When he's motivated, when he's up for it, he's fantastic. So for that reason, I'm taking Rashford. And then my backup striker, of course, it is between, well, I was going to say 2 guys, but it's actually between 3. Ollie Watkins, and then, where is he? Ivan Toney, but also people aren't really talking about Dom Solanke. Dom Solanke has had an incredible year as well. However, just for the fact that Solanke hasn't really been called up to England squads in a long time, for me, Solanke, no. Now it's between Toney and Watkins. The way I see it is, you don't need to take both. You can if you want, but you don't need to take both. There's not really going to be a situation where both of them are going to be used. Like Harry Kane, the only way these two come on is like the last few minutes. We're chasing a goal in a knockout game and we're just chucking on another striker. Or if Harry Kane gets injured, that's the only way. So you don't need both. For me, you take one. And if you take one, similar thing to the Rashford Gordon situation, you want someone who's different to Kane. You want that different option off the bench who can give you something extra. And as I said before, we have a lot of players who, like that ball to feet, are very technical. So I want players who are fast, as he probably won't get minutes, but if we need him, I think he can give us a bit of a spark. I'm also going to be taking another midfielder, and where is he? I'm actually going to be taking, I know this is not going to happen, but for me, I'm taking Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Ruben Loftus-Cheek has had a superb year for AC Milan. Really, really good. He's had experience at tournament football before, and I think that he's an extremely balanced player where in that midfield, if a Mainu isn't working or a Rice isn't working or whatever, like we need to bulk up the midfield, maybe we got a lead to protect, bring on Ruben Loftus-Cheek and he'll give you that balance. If there's an injury, I would trust Ruben Loftus-Cheek to come in and replace them. I know he hasn't been involved in England's setup in a while, but for me, he's had a good year. He's got experience before. I'm taking him. And then finally, my 26th spot. Now, look, it's very key. With this last pick, they are generally the 26th spot. There's pretty much no chance they're actually getting on the pitch. So what I want from them is really like those sort of intangibles. I want them to be a good character. I want them to be a leader, play a good role in the dressing room, help us out. Because they're not going to be touching the pitch. And I want to make that very clear. They're not going to be anywhere near the pitch. So for that reason, I'm taking Jordan Henderson. Yeah, I know. Jordan Henderson, as I said, is the 26th man. He is simply there because he is a leader. He is very well respected in the England dressing room, the camp, a very likeable figure, and he's going to be basically my cheerleader in the dressing room, in the background. Not even going to be like on the bench, mate. You're going to be like in the stands. Pretty much as a coach. You're pretty much a coach. Like, he's not touching that pitch because he does not deserve to, given his performances, and he's been playing in Saudi Arabia and for Ajax. But he's literally just going to be a cheerleader for me. So this is my 26-man England squad. Obviously, people were very close, such as Jared Bowen. I would put in the preliminary. Harvey Elliott, for sure. James Maddison, yeah, he was in my consideration. Kieran Trippier was very, very close as well in being in the squad. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me. That's pretty much it in terms of, none of these have any chance, in my opinion, for me. So this is my squad. Now I'm going to do the changes, what Southgate I think will actually happen. So for me, definitely, Ben White has no chance. Ben White is not going to be in the squad. Southgate does not like him. And his replacement is going to be Kieran Trippier. Kieran Trippier will be in that squad over Ben White. And I'm not entirely I don't mind that, but personally I would take White, but that's fine. Dean Henderson as well. Definitely not in the team. I think he takes Pope if he's fit. If not, he'll take Sam Johnstone. Again, he just doesn't really like Dean Henderson. Ruben Loftus-Cheek is definitely not in the squad as well. He has no chance. Southgate does not like him either. I don't think Southgate watches for one side of England anyway. And I think he doesn't really have the balls to pick between Tony and Watkins. He'll take both of them instead of Loftus-Cheek. I also think Eze is going to be swapped out for James Maddison. Again, just because he likes Maddison more than Eze, even though Eze is on much better form than Maddison. And I also think that, similar thing, I don't think he has the balls to pick between Rashford and Gordon, so he's going to take Gordon, and I think he'll probably drop out Joe Gomez for that. I think he'll drop out Joe Gomez, again, just because I don't think he particularly rates Gomez like that. And then I actually think he might take Eric Dyer instead of Jared Brandthwaite. Eric Dyer's not here, right? Unless I'm completely blind. I know someone's going to say it in the comments. So I'll just put in Dan Burn instead. So this is the squad which I think that